I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Christopher Wilczewski, and I am America's Application Specialist for the AEC market. Just a quick bit about me. I've been consulting on technology solutions for over 15 years, specifically in the areas of IT, electronics development, aerospace, and most recently the AEC markets. I'm excited to be hosting this event for you today with my colleague Cutter Shea. Cutter, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cutter Shea. Previously, I was a mechanical engineer for an aerospace startup company making electric motors and gearboxes for satellites and lunar rovers. But being stuck behind a desk wasn't so fun. I joined on with FARO and have been presenting, meeting new people, and enjoying this position for over 2 years now.
Thanks, Cutter. We also have a very special guest, FARO America's BIM Sim Sales Director, Jeffrey Tetzloff. We'll be reviewing the current pricing and letting everyone know about a special WebShare Cloud promotion. So before we start, I would like to see what kind of experience everyone has with WebShare Cloud prior to getting started. So you should see a polling question pop up in just a moment, and I ask you to please select which one best applies to you, and we'll review those in just a few minutes. So what's your experience with WebShare Cloud? Never heard of it, seen but haven't used, own it and use it occasionally, and own it and use it frequently. While everyone's answering that, I will move things along. The primary purpose for today's meeting is to introduce everyone to WebShare Cloud, and for those of you who have seen or worked with WebShare previously, update you on some of the newer features and how others are finding value. At FARO, we have really heard how challenging it can be to view and collaborate on projects, especially large ones. I can't even tell you how many customers Cutter and I have run into that have found some serious value with this platform.
Yeah, and additionally, Chris, I've known customers in the past who have brushed off WebShare just to focus on scanning and the software, and they just wanted to get their workflow started. But as soon as they got comfortable with their workflows, they took a look at WebShare and realized that they missed out on an opportunity, and we're very excited to start up with WebShare now that they were comfortable with their workflows.
Absolutely. So I put together an agenda for our presentation today. You see that Cutter, myself, and Jeff will be presenting different topics along the way. For our newcomers, we'll touch base a little bit on laser scanning and some of the challenges customers have experienced over the years, and how they can collaborate on scanner data. I'll then give a briefer introduction to WebShare, and Cutter will then take over and give some live demonstration of its capabilities. I will then follow up with information on how our customers are finding value in their business. For everyone considering WebShare Cloud, this next topic will be for you. We have Jeff presenting the pricing structure and our special promotion going on. Then Cutter and myself will conclude the event today with some questions and answers, making sure we take care of anything we've missed along the way. Feel free, as mentioned, to submit those questions throughout the presentation, and we'll address those at the end. So before we get started, let's go ahead and review those polling answers. All right. It looks like we have quite a few newcomers. We do have some existing users with 64% never used or heard of WebShare Cloud. So welcome everyone that hasn't. We have 14% who have used it, 11% that own it and use it sometimes, and 8% that are using it frequently. So for everyone who hasn't heard of it, welcome, and I think you'll get a lot out of this meeting, and for everyone else, I think you will get a lot as well. I think the new promotion will help for some of those people who don't own it yet. So let's go ahead and keep moving on. As I mentioned, I want to give a little bit of an introduction to scanning for some of our newcomers. And so you can see the top row shows how our hardware has progressed over the years. The bottom highlights how the capabilities of our scene software and how automated the registration process has improved. Both of these have culminated in our most recent hardware and software, making it easier than ever to capture and register simultaneously with that Focus S scanner and Scene 7.1. So the graph in the middle highlights how even as we've improved the ease of access and ease of use of our technology, we've also brought the prices down. So allowing more people to get into the field.
All right. And this brings us to some of the challenges in sharing data. Now, first, what is a point cloud? A point cloud is a collection of millions, perhaps billions of points, all with an XYZ coordinate, representing a real-world space. And these points are used to inject real-world data into the construction and facility lifecycle. So as the SCAN project grows and revisions are added, it's quite common for these projects to surpass 20 gigabytes in no time and become quite large. So sharing these files can be slow and cumbersome. Additionally, point clouds require special technical knowledge, specific software, and specific hardware. All of these are some hurdles in the game. So how can FARO increase the ease of access to point clouds and SCAN projects? We'll show you today with an introduction to WebShare. And one good question deserves another. How critical is sharing data to your project? We've got another polling question coming up here. Again, how critical is sharing data to your project? Not very critical, moderately critical, or highly critical are the answers. So take a moment here, fill that out, and we'll review those answers in just a minute.
Thanks, Cutter. While everyone's working on that polling question, let's go ahead and start on the introduction of WebShare Cloud. So what is WebShare Cloud? Well, here you can see the details from our website. We have a little screenshot here for you, but I'd rather not read all that and just boil it down. You can use pretty much any browser to interact with just about any point cloud on just about any internet-connected device. So that means smartphones and tablets, laptops and PCs. So you can see we have a very, very easy way to access the information from a scanner with just about any device by using WebShare Cloud. So if we have that polling answer, we should have everybody's answers in by now. Let's go ahead and see how everybody fared on that. There we go. So 56% are saying that their data is highly critical to being shared. So I have a feeling a lot of you are wondering how to share 20, 30, 50, 100 gigabytes of data and comment and share information on that throughout the organization, and we'll be touching base on that. I appreciate everyone's answers. So let's go ahead and let Cutter loose on the live portion.
All right. Now, can you see what is a SCAN project within Scene?
Yes, we can see Scene right there.
Okay, let me just jump over. Hold on here. Let me minimize it and get some of these options back. There we are.
There we go.
So WebShare data starts in Scene, and after scans have been registered together, filters have been applied, and appropriate color settings have been placed, you want to export the data as WebShare Cloud. And no, I don't want, well, let's just do a quick little save here. And then you get some options for uploading your data. Overview map settings for color or a clear view. You can create clipping boxes to isolate certain parts of data and upload only what has been selected. We've got some resolution images and color settings as well. For the project settings, this is where you can name your project. You can add a specific picture, a description, search keywords, or longitude and latitude for it to appear on a map. And then the upload settings are just when the administrator or user enters their email address, their password, which allows them to now upload into WebShare. So after the data has been created and uploaded, you end up getting a page like this where the data can be viewed. I have 3 different examples going through 3 different hypotheticals, and the first one will be FARO headquarters in Lake Mary, Florida. So the first thing that happens when selecting a project is it takes you to an overview map where you can view scan positions and see roughly what your project looks like from the sky. So each one of these icons is a scan position, and the color gives elevation information. So we can see that the red icons are close to 81 feet in elevation, and the blue ones are closer to 78.1. There's a little color band elevation indicator in the lower left here. And these circles that have a number 2 in them, if I zoom in, you can see they're just a grouping of scan positions. Also from this overview map, you may notice the little icon, Construction BIM Sim Informed Lifecycle in the bottom here. This is a custom logo that can be changed or customized to fit your company. So you could imagine your own company logo here in the corner. And now from the overview map, one of the first functions that you can use is the measure area. So on the right side of the screen, I'm going to select the measure area. And if you bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to work my way around the perimeter of the building. And in a few clicks, we should have a fairly accurate area measurement of the footprint of headquarters. So I'm working my way around. Just a few more clicks to go. Bear with me. Last one, hit OK. And we can see that the footprint of FARO headquarters is approximately 46,500 feet. And I can expand this, and we can show segment length and full perimeter length up here. So those are some of the info from an area measurement that can be seen. So I'm going to jump now into scan number 22. And we are now looking from the view of the scan position. The user can click and move around, and if you may notice the compass at the bottom of the screen indicating direction that the viewer is looking. Also, with the scroll wheel of your mouse, you're able to zoom in and out. So for this hypothetical situation, let's say that FARO was renovating the front entrance of their building, and they had a few different awning options or entrance options that they wanted to share with general contractors, construction site foremen, or even the building owners. So the user can leave an annotation by selecting Annotate on the right side of the screen. I'm going to place it right above the awning. I'll enter a name like Awning Options, a description of pictures of awnings. And the important part is adding the link. So I'm going to jump over to box.com, where I have some pictures of entrance types or awnings, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to copy the website, go back to WebShare, paste it in, add it, close out the annotation. So now if the general contractor or building owner were to go to the scan, they could check out this annotation, check out the notes that have been left, and here is the link taking them now to the awning options, which they could then choose and move forward with the rebuilding of the front entrance. So there was my first example. And my second example here is a project called First Floor, and it's a little more appropriate for the construction example. Again, it starts you off from a top-down view, and we can see this is a few dozen scans of a floor of a building. I'm going to jump now to scan F130. And let's say for this hypothetical situation, the builder needs to install a refrigeration unit and they are unsure if the refrigeration unit is going to fit underneath these lower ceilings or fit through here. So the contractor or user can go to measure distance, click once up top, one more on the floor, hit OK, and then we get a straight line distance. Now, this isn't necessarily the most accurate, but you can segment the measurement into its vertical and horizontal properties. So now we've quickly found that the vertical distance from floor to the top of this opening is 7.89 feet. And if our hypothetical refrigeration unit was 6 feet, we know we'd be able to fit. Now, this is a powerful tool because typically a builder would have to reference a 2D drawing. And we all know how quickly that official documents can become old archived revisions. So being able to use a real world living document to find some measurements can save a lot of pain in your projects. So I'll jump over now to the final example, which I'll be able to show 3D navigation through the point cloud and what we call 4D point cloud, which can show multiple point clouds at different times in the build process. So what we have here is the Bradford project. And from this top-down view, which we'll show in just a moment here, we've got lots of scans, and this one in particular gives a good view of the project. So we're looking around, I can see lots of scans and lots of different categories. It's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to filter some of those away.
Right there.
Yeah. It takes a lot of scans to get multiple floors and cover all the area, but good work. I'm going to filter that now as I only want to see during construction ground floor. Apply the filter, and bam, much easier to work our way through. Let me see. Actually, I would like to see, what did I pick during construction? Let's change that to as-built ground floor. There we are. And I'll jump into scan number 9 here. So what we have is what was previously viewing was the construction process where it was just the structural members and the skeleton of the building. But now we've jumped forward in time and we can see the completed room, the completed project. So for this hypothetical example, let's say that a constructor needs to, or builder needs to expand the width of this door, but they don't know if anything critical is hidden in the wall. What we are able to do is to jump back in time for 3D steel and concrete. So if you'll bear with me for a second as the steel and concrete now loads, and we've taken a jump back in time. Now, what I would do to measure, or now we can see that we've got a column in the middle of the wall. I would mark that now with the pin by a click of the mouse. You can see that the pin drops to where I've clicked, and it displays on the bottom here an XYZ coordinate, which can be helpful if that is the project coordinate system. However, I'll jump back into, go back to the overview map. We were in number 7 here. Excuse me while I navigate back to the view. All right. So I've dropped the pin where the column is placed, and I'm going to jump back into the 3D view so I can confirm that this is 3D view of the as-built, and I can start freely moving around the point cloud. And I want this, I just want you guys to all know that actually moving through the 3D point cloud and not being stuck to the view of the scanner is a very powerful and rare offering for just being able to connect to a point cloud through the internet and not needing any specialized software or hardware. So we've placed approximately where the column is in the wall, and I'm going to take now a measurement in 3D from the edge of the door to the estimated column position. Hit OK. And the straight line distance doesn't do us much help, but the horizontal, start to end, but the horizontal distance, 8.86 feet, is able to tell that builder that, let's see if I can jump back now to the 3D steel and concrete, that the builder now has approximately 8.864 feet from door edge to column to expand that door width and not worry about hitting any structural members. So that's one of the greatest uses of the 4D point clouds, and that's most of the functions that will be used in WebShare. But I would also like to jump over and show you the administrative part of WebShare. So I'll go now to another project.
You'd have to do, just to recap, Cutter, you'd have no need to do any exploratory wall openings to see what's in there. You could reference your scan data and see exactly how much room you have to move over.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's a little better explanation. But from the administrative side, this is the admin page where data can be viewed and download info and traffic details can be viewed. This is also where users can be invited to WebShare. Their roles can be granted or revoked. Viewers, uploaders, or full admin. And then individuals are placed into groups, and it is the groups that are then given privilege to see private projects. So with this brief review of the admin rights, this concludes the live demo portion of the of WebShare. So give me just a moment here to pass this back to Chris.
Thank you, Cutter. I need you to right-click on my, there we go. My screen. And so thank you again, Cutter, for showing all of that amazing information. Again, everything Cutter just did was only in a web browser. There was nothing else that other than showing how to get the information into the WebShare Cloud. Everything else was done within a web browser and can be done from a phone or a tablet to view that information, to add that information. You're really not limited on what you can do there. So next, I did want to touch base on how we currently have geographically diverse hosting locations. So your data is very safe there. So we have one in the US and one in Europe. And we also focus on...
Excuse me, Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt there, but you mentioned security, and I just wanted to further expand that the security of the WebShare data on the Amazon servers has a 256-bit encryption, and that is the same encryption as the banking industry, which keeps your money safe. So I just wanted to make that clear to everyone on the line. Sorry for interrupting there.
No, thank you, Cutter. I appreciate that. I'm sure our attendees do as well. And it is encrypted both in the storage and also the transfer of the data. So when you're uploading or downloading any data, as well as the storage on the server itself, it is encrypted throughout that whole process. And you saw Cutter mention some of the access control capabilities. So only people given rights to access the data are able to view it. So now that we've shown a number of ways that WebShare Cloud, the WebShare Cloud capabilities, let's just dive into some of the ways that our customers are finding value. So I'm going to start with service providers, and they find value in that user group and role management. So they can set users up for specific rights and grant them specific roles once they add them as a user and group them together. So for service providers, they may want multiple logins for one customer, and that customer then can be grouped to have access to specific scan data sets. That transparent logo that we showed you that Cutter highlighted earlier is another great feature for our service providers they find value in. And then there is also the ability to download and upload objects to and from scene with WebShare Cloud. So you'll be able to bring down the information annotated in the web into Scene, into the full version of Scene, as well as upload that information to WebShare Cloud. So you don't necessarily have to go to the web. You can sync it, pull that information down, and be able to access it right in the full version of Scene. For our users working in the construction documentation field, they've found both that area measurement capability and distance measurements very convenient to be able to share that information along the way. Also 4D, you can see the screenshot here also showing the windows before and after those walls are put up. And as Cutter showed, moving a door or expanding a doorway is possible to do that without opening up the wall to see where are those cross and support beams at, where might some plumbing be. Those types of things can be completely avoided. One of our newest customer applications that are finding value in WebShare is the facility management and operations. Having the ability to make those tags and notes and link to information throughout the data set make record keeping easier to locate and keep track of. We also, for those of you that are familiar with ortho photos, you can also do that in WebShare Cloud. So you can take that really a quick view either from the facade or a ground view and make quick 2D drawings out of that information. These images can also be brought into pretty much any CAD package. And finally, I want to highlight our mobile mapping customers. They have found WebShare Cloud capable of handling these extremely large data sets that they work with. And you can see right here, we have one that is almost 39 miles of scanned roadway and the surrounding areas. So WebShare Cloud has really proven itself to be able to handle just about any point cloud data you can throw at it. And one final capability of WebShare Cloud is we do offer an API. So this allows, you can see in the video some information, it allows for integrating the map data, scan, measurements, notes, and tags into other software platforms. So you can access this through our developer portal at developer.faro.com. And you can see how you can integrate the information from WebShare Cloud into other pieces of software. It's a really great tool for expanding the use case of WebShare. So we do have one final polling question for you today. Which use case would you like to see more of? So would you like to see more of our service provider, construction documentation, facility management, mobile mapping, or other? And while you're all answering that, I want to show off a recent case study we partnered with Robbins and Morton on. I will stop sharing.
FARO and laser scanning technology has impacted us tremendously, and I think the thing that surprises me the most is the more we use it, the more uses we find for it.
Initially, when I first thought about laser scanner, I thought it was just a really overpriced measuring tape. But in actuality, it is a true reality as-built capturing device. The laser scanner allows you to capture upwards to 1 million points per second. Not only that, but you also get your 360 images.
When we take the scanners out there, we actually get some amazing photos, high-density photos, but we can actually get a tremendous amount of data. We get space data. We get dimensional data that we can actually just go in and run some quick dimensions on. So the amount of information that is there just continues to increase more and more and more.
I personally feel this has set us apart in the market because we don't just utilize the scanner just for true as-built conditions, for coordination or just measuring something. We also utilize other features of the FARO scanner, something called WebShare to Go. WebShare to Go allows us to have a web-based 360 imagery of every single scan perspective. It allows us to capture what's truly there, what's happening at that current moment. And when we're getting around a board and we're looking at these WebShare to Go 360 images, we can analyze every single part of the project and identify major issues or potential issues on that project site.
There's a lot of positive fringe benefits to an owner when we can take the technology and all the data that we can pull from that technology and help to solve problems, not just identify problems, but solve the problems and come up with the solutions much, much earlier.
Here's one perfect case, Southgate Hospital in Claremont, Florida. We were tasked with getting a new air handling unit into a penthouse. When we got out there, we realized there was a lot of different scenarios that we had to measure. So we said, this is a perfect case for a scanner.
We built that project years before, and we'd actually built in a knockout panel to the penthouse, but we felt it was prudent to actually to try to figure out a way not to knock out the side of the wall, bust through the vapor barrier, do a lot of damage, just have to come and repair that.
We were able to realize instantly after we registered the data that we can get the equipment in through the door. By doing this, by doing the laser scan, determining exactly how to get the largest piece of the air handling unit into the penthouse, we were able to determine that we can get it on the roof, get it through the door, and actually come up with a safety plan. And during that process, we also found an obstacle that even if, no matter which way we came in, was going to be an issue with the floor drain. But by doing this with the laser scan, we were able to identify these issues early on, and it saved the job approximately almost $100,000.
All right. So that was a quick run through on some of the ways Robbins and Morton found value from WebShare Cloud. I would now like to introduce you to Jeffrey Tetzloff. He's the America's BIM Sim Sales Director, and he will share with you some of the current pricing and that promotion I mentioned that we're currently running. Jeff?
So I hope everyone can hear me. Chris Wolczewski, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you for having me involved today, everybody. It's an opportunity to reach out to our client base and hopefully prospective clients. And what they're looking at here in very simple terms is, FARO's method of bringing this capacity or capability into the market is really driven by making it easy right now for our clients to get involved with this. We at the AEC side of our business, my responsibility is to bring forward every opportunity we can to help create accessibility for our clients. And as the business is transforming in the world of technology, at FARO, what we recognize is that, building information modeling is one piece of the puzzle, but construction information management is the second piece. And that probably describes for many of you what that SIM means at the end of our divisional title. But the beautiful thing here is everything that you've seen that Cutter showed you and that you saw with Chris's videos are an opportunity for every person on this line to, at a very low cost, get involved with working with this in conjunction with our other technologies. And again, the idea here is to try to put something in addition to what we offer today. Everybody understands that scanners are really neat pieces of hardware technology. But I think everybody on the line would probably agree that the scanner standing alone does not help you earn or save money. The value comes from what we do with that information. If we can help people understand how to use it and use it with great value, then their accessibility to the capabilities of technology really grows. And so what we're looking to do here is provide another tool to our clients to say, here's a very simple way to maximize savings because of the continuous or what we call real-time management of the program, but also the collaboration with all of those stakeholders who need to see this information and make business decisions. We're very confident that this additional tool to our offerings really gives that real-time performance capacity to our teams, as well as teams meaning our clients, our stakeholders. And so a very low-cost way for our clients to step into this platform and utilize this effectively. And as a result of that, we really would like to, if you will, reintroduce that to the market. And I think we've got an offering here that's put together that will really excite folks, which is simply that in almost every case where we sell a laser scanner today, FARO is seen as part of that sale. And what we're going to do for a period of time here is offer this WebShare service completely free with a new scene license. So anybody out there who is going to do a purchase with us, with FARO, and they need either an additional scene license or they're going to invest a little further into the hardware technology with scene, we'll be able to deliver this to you. and allow you the opportunity to see its value. We're, of course, highly interested in learning the many ways that people find value out of it. But I think it's a fantastic offering, and this really has been hatched by and driven by our technical side sales group and business development, which includes the two gentlemen who are presenting today, Cutter and Chris. I thank you, gentlemen, for that. And I think this is just a fantastic offering that, as people think about it, the question would really be, why wouldn't you use this? And that's the way we feel about it, and we feel like we really will drive a further accessibility to this value of the technology in the market. So please reach out to your account manager and anybody and everybody that wants to see this and see it live separately. We're capable of showing it, sharing it, and helping you get involved.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jeff. I do think it's a great opportunity, and I want to thank you for taking the time to address everyone today in the webinar and also on the recording. So before
it's our honor to be here. It's our honor to be here, and for everyone who is online, we're grateful that you give us a chance to participate here, and we look forward to doing business with you. And we appreciate those of you on the line who have done business with us. There's never enough time to thank everyone for their support of FARO, and where we're trying to drive and be successful globally. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Before we move on to the next slide, can we get the results of the last poll? There we go. So it appears that we've got construction documentation being of the most interest at 27%, followed closely by facility management and mobile mapping at 23%, and MEP at 18%. So we've got a really good understanding now of kind of our direction to take things and have our next live event, our next webinar event. So thank you so much for participating in this poll, and we'll continue moving forward. And since many of you are new, based on our initial poll, what's next for everyone at the different stages? So if you're interested in just giving WebShare Cloud a test, you want to get your hands dirty and play around with it, farobimsim.websharecloud.com, as well as just going to websharecloud.com will give you examples, and you'll be able to test out your browser and the interface right there. For everyone looking to learn more than just that little bit of test, you can request a demo from your local account manager, as Jeff mentioned, or follow the link that Scott's going to add to our chat portion of today's event. That will take you to the area where you can request a demo if you don't know your local account manager. And for those ready to implement WebShare Cloud, account manager is then going to be your main direction there. And if you don't know who that is, if you go to www.faro.com, and there's a link towards the bottom that says request a quote. So you'll be able to select that, type in your information, and it will all be passed over to the proper channels. So we have now reached the question and answer portion of today's event. I believe we have a few questions already in the queue. And I think I will need to stop sharing in order to see those. All right, so we have do you happen to have any BIM 360 integration with this yet? And I'm going to defer that question to Cutter.
As of yet, we do not have any BIM 360 integration, but we have been taking requests from customers and seeing what other softwares they want to use in combination with this, and those have been passed up to the developers. So we do like to take requests, and we do like to hear what you want to use it with, but currently not integrated with BIM 360.
Cutter, just real quick, I believe there are some integrations though with Navisworks by using some of the linking capabilities.
Yes, with Navisworks, but excuse me. You can do a bit of linking with Navisworks, but for BIM 360, I'm not exactly 100% sure on the linkings there, so I would assume so.
Yeah, I was just highlighting some of the other possible ways to integrate with the data in WebShare Cloud, and of course, there's also that API that you'd have access to that you can add and link to information inside of the WebShare Cloud account. Does the pin have edge detection snap for a column or door opening? Nathan, at this time it does not. There is no edge or corner or any specific snapping capabilities in WebShare Cloud. We continue to improve and integrate. If you're familiar with our PointSense products that are inside of the Autodesk world, those have some of those abilities to snap to specific information. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw that in the future inside of WebShare Cloud, but at this time it doesn't.
And Chris, let me add to that. If you have the 3D, if you have the 3D capability, you can move in 3D and check your check where you've selected for your pin dropping in 3D, and that's the way to confirm whether you picked the correct location or not.
Excellent. Yeah, so you can move around and view it from all different angles. Our next question, can you isolate anchor locations, for example, a bolt hole and plane, and export that to update an anchoring system in a CAD platform? Cutter, I think I'm going to default to you, but my guess would be the orthophoto tool would probably be one of the easiest ways to get that information out.
Yeah, the orthophoto would be one way, about the only way to go about doing that, because even though we talk about collaboration and sharing the point cloud data, you cannot actually download straight up point cloud data. So it would need to be a orthophoto, which you could then use to trace in CAD.
And our final question, and we're actually getting pretty close to the end of our hour. How long does it take to upload a typical project or scan? Great question. So the answer to that is variable. It's going to be dependent on the quality of the scan data you have, the size of the scan data. It is compacted to some degree, but so there, it's going to be dependent on quality and resolution of the scan data as well as the color information. Do you have photo imagery that's going to be tied into that? It's also going to depend on your upload capabilities, the bandwidth you have when you're connecting to the system. Cutter, do you have anything else to add? Did I miss anything on that?
With typical scan settings and an ideal internet connection, scan projects of 30 scans takes about an hour. And that's a conservative rule of thumb I use.
Excellent. Thank you. I noticed one more question that someone would like to learn more about PointSense and pricing in the future. For anyone interested in that, please reach out to your account managers. They'll be able to set you up with web demos and other information on that. For those of you who are not familiar with PointSense software, it is a great add-on to the Revit and AutoCAD worlds that allow you to snap to information in point clouds and draw very, very quickly from that information in full 3D. So I believe that concludes the questions we have today. If we didn't get to your question, we'll be addressing it through email. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today. I would also like to thank Cutter for your assistance and Jeff as well for sharing all that information with our attendees. Robbins and Morton, I want to thank them for their collaboration on that case study everyone viewed, and everyone else at FARO and WebEx that helped make today happen. You should receive a follow-up with the recording of today's presentation, and if you have any other questions to ask, please feel free to reach out to myself, Cutter, or your local account manager. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.